Hi, welcome back. So my latest video is about enabling you to discover which scale you'd like to work with next. It's really aimed for people who maybe you've explored the major scale, the minor scale, the modes of the major scale, of which the minor scale is one. You've maybe fiddled around and feckled and explored and noodled with the various modes, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, etc., etc. And rather than saying, oh, what you should do is learn this scale next, I think that a healthier approach, and maybe something that will motivate you a bit more, is if you explore and discover the scale that you want to work with next. See what appeals to your ears. So this is a method for taking that approach. In order to do this, you'll need to have a bit of an understanding of the functions of each of the 12 notes in music. So I'm going to do this in the key of E, simply because my guitar is tuned to E. I'm going to keep that deep, lowest string, being able to play that with each of the notes, because we need to hear the intervals. There's an E here, 7th fret of the 5th string. I'm going to go up each of the notes. I'm going to do it fairly rapidly. I suggest that you spend a lot longer over this. The truth is, training your ears is just as important as training your fingers. So I'm suggesting you take the time so that you then can hear what a note sounds like, rather than just sharp 4 being an intellectual concept. You want to know what a sharp 4 sounds like. Anyway, for the purposes of not making this video too lengthy, I'm going to go fairly promptly. So that's my root. Whichever is your root, the next semitone up is the flat 2. That's a 2. That's a flat 3. Or minor 3rd. That's the major 3rd. That's what a 4th sounds like. Sharp 4, gotta love it. That's the 5th. Flat 6. 6. Flat 7. 7. To octave or root. So the process I'm suggesting, and something that I've done a number of times on my own journey, is simply go through going, right, I've got my root. Do I want a flat 2 or a 2? Play them. Choose one of them. Do I want a flat 3 or a 3? Play them. Choose one. And simply go through. You've got your root. You're going to pick a 2 or a flat 2, a 3 or a flat 3, a 4 or a sharp 4, a 5 or a flat 5, a flat 6 or a 6, and then a flat 7 or a 7. Now, last time I did this process, this is the scale that I ended up with. I like that sort of rock flat 2. But I didn't just want minor and Phrygian, so I purposefully went major and 4, 3 and 4, 5 and flat 6, and flat 7. You'll end up with whatever you end up with. If I did this now, I would probably have a sharp 4 in there, but I'm sticking with last time I did it. Then I suggest you play the notes across the strings. So I've got 1, flat 2, 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and 8. So I found the scale that's appealing to my ears, and interestingly enough, I actually managed to name it correctly, because I looked at it and went, oh, this has got a flat 2, so I'm guessing Phrygian, but it's also major and it's got a flat 7. Well, that's dominant, Phrygian dominant. And this is how I discovered the Phrygian dominant scale. So if you know the name, then you can simply look on YouTube for a backing track that you can play that scale along with. Personally, I'm a looper. I'm a live looper. I love my looping. So what I did was created a couple of different progressions using this scale. I want to give you a tip, something that I haven't heard anywhere, and yet when I realized it was like, oh, this is so much easier. So the tip is, you want to be soloing, you want to move around your neck, and you're going to learn every single box position so that you know what the scale is. And I'm not dissuading you from doing that, and I recognize that it can seem like a sizable task. So what I want to share with you is after a while what I realized was that if we take the notes of that E major and that F major, that gives us 6 of the 7 notes in this scale. The only note that needs to be added to it is the D. So that's the note that's a tone down from that E chord. So anywhere that you know, say where an E and an F are, if I just use one finger up at the... so that's coming from the A type bar chord there. Just as an aside, if you're familiar with cage, I'm not a big fan of the cage system, but it can be very useful in this sort of circumstance. So I've got E here, think E type bar chord. Then I've got E here, I think like D. That's E and F, and they come from the C bar chord. So I've got those. Then here I've got my A, as in A type bar chord, that's E, and F. Here I've got my G, and then finally we end up back up here. So take any of those and just play the notes of the 2 chords. And just add a D, the nearest D to it. Or down here with a D type shape. So I hope that's useful as a tip. Just the 2 major chords, and you can find every note in the scale very quickly and very easily. A lot easier than learning every single box position over the entire neck. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope that that's been useful for you. As a sort of conclusion, to remind you, I encourage you to learn all the functions. Okay, root, flat 2, 2, flat 3, 3, 4, sharp 4, 5, flat 6, 6, flat 7, 7, octave. It's not actually that difficult. Explore them, get used to the sound of them, and just discover a scale that appeals to your ears. Hey, thanks for checking out my latest video. I'd like to give you a heads up about masterclasses I'm now running every week, 7 till 9 GMT. Anyone can attend, wherever you are, anywhere in the world, provided you have an internet connection. Each session is 2 hours long, with an emphasis on composing and improvising. All about the how-tos, particularly with interesting scales and maybe more exotic chord progressions. I always leave time for questions, so whatever you'd like to ask concerning your personal journey with your instrument, I'm here to help you. 2 hours a week, that's 8 hours a month. Each is a standalone session. You don't need to attend them all, and if you want to, you can. It's tier 2 of my Patreon at only $30, about 25 quid a month. That's up to 8 hours of tuition. Works out at just over £3 an hour, I think. So I hope you'll come and join sometime. See the link down in the description. All the best.